Periodization is not your latest Euroblast Super Pump Training 531 or starting strength. Periodization is how you break down your training at periods of time. You have a microcycle that could be anywhere from a workout all the way up to a week, a mesocycle, 3 to 5 weeks or so, and a macrocycle, more like 12 to 16 weeks. And for Olympic athletes, they might even go to like a quadrennial cycle, or as others do like an annual training cycle. So we're gonna break this down and talk about it. A good question of periodization. So I was asked some questions. So I was gonna put together a few notes. Ended up being a lot of notes, and unfortunately, I'm not a professional YouTuber and don't have a chance to practice this ahead of time. So I'm just gonna go off the top of my head right now. Got some caffeine flowing, and I feel pretty good right now. So let's do this. Okay, so periodization is not a new thing. Ancient civilizations like Chinese, Romans, Greeks, all knew you couldn't just throw a gun in a soldier's hands and say, go fight. You had to physically prepare that soldier for the battle to come. It wouldn't be just go out there and do it. So in 1917, a Russian author named Kotov, he wrote about periodization. And what he said, there was a general phase of training, a preparatory phase of training, and finally a specific phase of training. The ancient Greeks actually spent, when they were training for the ancient Olympics, up to 10 months in preparatory for that. And by 1946, there had been a book in Britain written about periodization. So this is not a new thing. So a lot of times people talk about periodization, it becomes just about mutual gratification. So AKA circle jerk. So all a circle jerk is when people are trying to mutually gratify one another for no other purpose besides making each other feel good. Circle jerk, okay? So, what happens here is NCAA, places like that, nowadays they have strict guidelines of when you're allowed to train and things like that. So by default, the sort of, forces periodization, and, a running back doesn't have to be ready in mid-February for a game. Okay, so the advantage powerlifters have here is powerlifters have preset contest dates. So I forget who it was. Some powerlifter in the 1980s, Powerlifting USA, I was reading once, said, someone asked him, how do you feel? And he said, I feel like shit 363 days a year, but 2 days every year I feel great. Nationals and worlds, he weighed so much. I wouldn't recommend living your life that way, but for powerlifting purposes, you actually could do that because you have the preset dates. Converse, like an NFL player, you have 16 games. Okay, you can't just peak out for the Super Bowl because if you don't win any games, you're not gonna get to the Super Bowl. Different strategies there. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of periodization. So what we look at, designing a program would be like the movement patterns associated with the sport we're programming for. So, then the energy system is involved in that sport. Obviously, if it's a maximum intensity sport where, each play lasts, 3 or 4 seconds, it's different than running a marathon. Powerlifting, Olympic lifting is even different than powerlifting and type of thing. So then you even look at the philosophical approach of that sport. So for instance, a football team that goes right up the middle says, hey, you know what? I'm going to come right at you. I'm going to run over your ass, and I'm going to tell you where I'm running, so I dare you to try and stop me. That's going to be a little bit different than, running, we're shotgun offense, pass the ball every play, finesse, just think of a boxer on the outside fighting, working the jab, 6'7", versus I'm like, David Tua coming in there, I'm gonna knock your ass out, I fight dirty, and that's just how I roll. Different approaches, right? So then we look at the physical condition of each athlete, and even the temperament of the athlete, the psychological makeup of the athlete, because some, even powerlifting, certain athletes, thrive on certain types of routines. So if you have someone buying into it, they're going to get better results than they don't. Okay, then we look at the methodology used for improvement, and finally the totality and cost of the total energy, finite energy reserve. So basically every stressor you encounter affects you in some way. Your body doesn't know the difference between stress. So if you're having some kind of, problems at work, I don't know, like marital problems, sexual, I don't know what kind of problems you have, but that's going to have an effect on your training. It just does. Your body doesn't know the difference kind of stress it's receiving. The difference is good stress from training, you can super compensate, actually become better. That after that fatigue reduces, according to the fitness fatigue model, you'll have those fitness increases up to about 3 times as long. So let's look at the different types of periodization now. So first we got linear periodization. This is the classic periodization. This is kind of Ed Cohn, Bill Kazmaier, those type of guys used, and it's produced many great champions. So basically the premise is you start with higher volume, lower intensity. Over time you decrease the volume, you increase intensity as, whatever preset date you have plan approaches. So you could start off with, 2 weeks of 10 reps, 2 weeks of 8 reps, 2 weeks of 6 reps, 2 weeks of, so on and so forth, all the way down to doubles and singles. So this works really well for people that have, minimal preset dates like powerlifters. Okay. It's also, I think there's a mental advantage to this type of periodization, because if you think about it, like, anything I've done well because I always bet myself. So I love having numbers I have to hit. I know I'm going to hit those numbers, and I thrive off that. And that linear periodization, I would not have done well with, hey man, work up to an RPE of 8.5 in the squat today. No, I want to know I'm going to hit that number. I'm going to think about it. I thrive on it because Josh Bryant always bets on himself. Okay, so that's basically linear periodization. Higher volume, lower intensity. Over time, you increase the intensity and you decrease the volume. Okay, so then there's reverse linear periodization. So that's the exact opposite. That's just linear periodization in reverse. So Charlie Francis wrote about that in the book Speed Trap, and when he talked about that, what he said is a lot of the East German sprinters did that. If you think about it, they might just, for example, run 20 meters as fast as they can. Next, go 30 meters as fast as they can, and then keep increasing that distance. And the idea is you're performing, when you're training, if you're not going maximum speed or maximum intensity, you're performing well below competition demand. So if you're running 100 meters at 15 seconds for multiple sets, but you compete at 10, your muscles, your connective tissue, your bones, they don't experience that same stimulus. So over time, if you can increase it. So I've used this actually, with tactical athletes preparing for different assessments. I've used it with one time an older boxer. He's training for a master's fight. He ended up kicking ass in that fight. So we started off, 15-second rounds and gradually increased the time of the rounds, going all out when he was training. Because you look at the Golden Glove fights, a lot of times they're 1-minute rounds. So people, all these old school boxers, let's do 3-minute rounds, get ready. No. It's a different fight. 1-minute round, that's a tough man contest. That's a street fight. That's we're getting a phone book, taking it off, and we're going toe-to-toe. We're doing a toe-to-toe mambo, and one of us, son of a bitch, is going to walk out live or in the lower field or something. Okay, well, anyways, different approach. So if you can start off with that intensity and gradually increase the time you can do it, it's really good for speed, really good for power, endurance. Next up, we have undulated periodization. That's just a non-linear model of periodization. So practically applied example of this is you might do 1 day for strength, 1 day for power, 1 day for hypertrophy. If you're a bodybuilder on a split body part routine, Monday, week A might be hypertrophy pump day for chest and back. The next week, workout A might be strength day for hypertrophy. So you take a holistic approach by targeting different things each training session. So the advantage of this type of training is people don't get mentally stale on it. So you're manipulating training variables often. You're adjusting loading parameters often. You're adjusting what you're doing in the workout often. And so you think about like a football player has to stay on point for 16 plus games and then get in the playoffs and whatnot, that this can work better, because if they just peak out their speed and their power week 4 and then they suck, that ain't going to cut the mustard. So this can work really well for that type of situation. It can work really well for tactical athletes with a great limit strength base. You know what? You already have the requisite limit strength, and you want to continually slowly improve. And each of those abilities over time can work very well for things like that. So this can be done. This can be manipulated on a workout, daily, weekly, monthly type of, or weekly, not really a monthly type of basis. And then we have this was, and I should say this was popularized by Charles Poliquin, and Fred Hatfield also pioneered it. Was ABC system of bodybuilding, where an A day was a lighter type of pump day. B day was your typical 1990s muscle fitness, 3 sets of 10, where C days was balls out. You let them hang. You do your eccentrics, your giant sets, and it's like you got a gun to your head and you got to get it done. That was, how he did undulate. That he didn't call it that. He called it the ABC system. But Charles Poliquin talked about it. I mean, and in this, so let me emphasize, the advantage here is that you get the constant different training stimuli, so you can theoretically maintain more motor abilities at once. You don't burn out mentally or physically as easy this way. You can take it to the next step would be flexible undulated periodization. So what that means is basically like the Weider's instinctive principle. If you feel good, you go for it. If you don't, you back off. So what you might do is, okay, if you feel good this day, you do a strength workout, a workout that's more demanding to your central nervous system. Where you don't feel so good, you might do, a hypertrophy workout. If you're talking about speed and endurance, you feel good one day, balls out speed work, okay? And then you don't feel so good, you do more of an aerobic endurance where instead of doing, working on speed and acceleration and power, you go do a ruck walk or something like that. So that can be really good if somebody has self-awareness. The issue I have is most people don't have self-awareness. You have a lot of people are twat waffles, poodle dicks. They don't really want to push it. You have those people that always got, something wrong, and all that kind of crap. Then I deal with a lot of people that are the opposite. They're total certifiable BMFs. They're gonna, they thrive off of just like going crazy, and they're never gonna, that's always put me in the game, Core. It's 4th and 1 on the goal line. You see nothing but elbows and assholes. They want the pigskin every time up the middle. They thrive on it. Even if it's 4th and 11, they still want the ball. They are just made up like that, special people. But we got to rein them in too. So if you give them so that's the problem if you start doing everything like RPEs and things like that, is people don't lack, a lot of people don't lack self-awareness. Most people are overly aggressive or underly aggressive, okay? But if someone truly had self-awareness and a lot of experience, that's where the flexible undulated periodization type of strategy could work. So next off, we have block periodization, popularized by Vladimir Assyrian, This could even be called focus training, okay? So what you do here is you highly concentrated workloads on minimal ability. So you have, say like a 4-week block, you might concentrate on, you could concentrate on successive blocks that build off one another. You could concentrate on hypertrophy, because obviously if you have more muscle, I've talked about before, the best way to increase strength potential is with more muscle mass, hypertrophy, strength, so on, so forth. Okay, so what Assyrian talks about in the book, and a lot of people get wrong, is they say you can only target one ability at a time. He does say you should concentrate about 80% of expenditure towards the motor ability you're trying to improve. However, there's still 20% maintenance. So if you are a tactical athlete and you're weak and you're trying to build limit strength, you could still focus on limit strength. But if you're already running, a 6 minute mile, you could keep sufficient, aerobic and your aerobic base sufficiently up with just some ruck walks or something like that. So it doesn't have to, but for a high, so that you can target. You're gonna really focus on one, but with the right strategy, you can have some sort of maintenance strategies in place. Block periodization works very well when you have 1 or 2 or 3 competitions a year on preset dates. So this is very good for powerlifting. A lot of researchers even get this confused with linear periodization because you start off generally with higher volume, lower intensity. You gradually up the intensity, and then decrease the volume over time. So for powerlifting, for instance, this could be divided into 3 blocks. First, you have the accumulation block, general block. So higher volume, less intensity, really focusing on your resistance work. Then that could be anywhere from like 3 to 5 weeks, whatever. Then you have next the transmutation block. That is when you kind of morph from general into the specific. So the main lift, heavier weight, lower reps, less assistance work. Then finally you go into the realization block. That's where you get the readiness for competition from all the preparatory work you put in. Great stuff. So then you're ready for the competition. That's heavier weight, heavier singles, higher intensity. The assistance works, matters less and less. It's all about getting that best result in competition. Okay, so like I said before, this can be used for other purposes as long as the maintenance stuff in there. So what do you use for your goals, for powerlifting, or for as a tactical athlete you're bouncing at the Okinawa dive bar and that same asshole that keeps coming and going, sucky, 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 sucky all around, wants a piece of you. I mean, all this can work for you. So here's what you got to know. Okay, this is Tinder. It's not marriage. You are playing the field and experiencing it all. You don't have to be exclusive, steady with one type of periodization. Again, usually when people just are so hell-bent on one type, that's more of a circle jerk. Okay, so what this means is, okay, let's go. I'm gonna put a link at the bottom of this video. Sign up for my newsletter, totally free. You're gonna get delivered a free 8-week deadlift program. Okay, So in that program, the weight progressively increases. Okay, so with that being said, you say, oh yeah, linear periodization. Well, wait a second. In the first block of training, so it's a block periodization. We're focusing on specific things, divided into blocks, mesocycles, right? So is it block periodization? Well, wait a second. The volume's increasing on the compensatory acceleration sets each week. So it's reverse linear periodization. Okay, so point being, you need to find what's best. Okay, you need to take the best of each and blend it. So that's what I do with clients. I don't care what we call it. All that matters is results. I am a whore for results. If this is about results, I'm a total whore. Okay, and my job is to pimp the client's results. Okay, so Bruce Lee said it best. You want to adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. So again, that's what I'm saying again. I adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. So how do I make these decisions? Well, I base it off the 7 grand. Obviously, I get feedback from clients, observe, but the 7 granddaddy laws of training. So we have the law of individual differences. We're all different. We have different, work capacities, injury histories, jobs, psychological makeups, genetic blueprints, all that stuff. So, you look at some studies, there are non-responders to certain programs. So everybody's gonna be different, okay? So if somebody just thrives on, I gotta hit this number this week, and they're getting ready for a powerlifting meet, and you like undulated periodization, that's great, but they may not like that. So if you're just saying, hey, go up to RPE of 8 each week, they don't like that. They wanna be told what to do. Other people can't stand that. They might do better with a more RPE undulated type of program, okay? The overcompensation and overload principle next. So basically this means Mother Nature overcompensates for training stress by giving you bigger and stronger muscles. The story of Milo the Bull here. And this is linear periodization in action, just progressive overload, okay? Then we have the SAID principle, specific adaptations to impose demands, and the specificity principle. This basically means you need to train how you're going to compete, or whatever you're going to accomplish. So if you're going to squat raw as your goal, like I want to really bring up my raw squat, well, you're going to have to get off the box at some point if that's all you do. Okay, you can't just keep doing that all the time. Okay, so you're going to have to actually compete how you play. It's just it's different. So the GAS principle, that's basically the acronym for general. It is the acronym for general adaptation system. This basically says that periods of low intensity training and volume must follow the higher intensity, higher volume periods so you super compensate, you get better. Okay, so you need, with periodization, don't become dogmatic. Do what works best. Borrow from each, and let the people on the internet forums fight it out for whatever is each. But all that matters is results. And if you're, especially if you're not competing or anything, you need to have fun doing this. So if you like to constantly change things, more of an undulated approach. If you like build up with momentum and like little successes each week, like get these preset number, a linear approach, most people are going to have some sort of mixture of many of these different types of approaches. And appreciate, so if you, and I'm sorry, again, I'm not a professional YouTuber though, so I don't have time. If you have a great experience and you want to talk about how, I don't have time to go back and forth a bunch. I can answer questions real quickly. But if you do have like a topic I should cover, I'm open to that. So you can leave that in the comments, and appreciate all the support. Thanks.